Cool.
So now
So, hi
I will
everyone.
pass over to Loren.
Thank you. So we're just going to do a little, it's focused around well-being, but really it's focused around setting goals. Because there's sort of 5 key things for well-being, and one of them is setting goals. And I feel like if you've got the goal setting, you can kind of unlock all the rest of them and use them more effectively. So it's kind of like the layout of this little session. We're going to be setting goals at various times, couple of like activities along the way, but also because it is about well-being. If anyone wants to talk after, I know Lydia is really happy to talk to people about stuff. So if anything does come up, there's obviously places to go to. I'm going to share my screen. Oh, I'm not allowed to share my screen. Would it be possible to share my screen, Lydia? Perfect, thank you. So yeah, so this is the resource that I'll be sending around in a second. But what we want is, so we're just going to start off by giving you a little sneak preview there of just saying hi, saying who we are. You can say where you've come from. But because we're sort of thinking about well-being, one thing that you're finding challenging in isolation, and also one positive thing about isolation. So I'm really happy to go first, and then we can just sort of make our way around. My name's Loren. I'm from London. I'm finding having just staying in the house all day, every day, and every day's the same. I'm finding that really challenging. But a really positive thing is that my family put on a festival for my birthday, which was very exciting. Like over various Zoom chats, so it's like a big festival, and that was a huge positive. So that was mine. Lydia, you're next on my screen. Do you want to introduce yourself?
Sure, I'm Lydia. I recently moved to York just during lockdown / just before it. So yeah, new place. One thing I'm finding challenging is the amount of work, which is a bit selfish because I know a lot of people are out of work, and that must be really hard. But MYA has taken on board a lot of work to sort of support the most vulnerable young people during the lockdown, and even though it's very rewarding, it's very tough because we've taken on quite a lot. A positive thing about isolation is I think you do become more grateful for the simple things. It sounds really sad, but I really like hanging washing out on the line in the fresh air. It's like really weird, but I quite like the task because it stops you. Like I have a break from my screen, for example, and then I get to like go outside for only like a few minutes, and it's like the smell of fresh washing as well. Really sad, but that's my positive thing.
That sounds really lovely, really lovely. Yeah, Jodie, are you okay to go next?
Yeah, I'm all good. So yeah, I'm Jodie. I'm part of the Yorkshire Beach Rangers project down here in Cornwall. One thing I found challenging probably is not being able to go to the beach. So I sort of live in between the North Coast and the South Coast, so not really, walking distance. So I haven't been since before it all started. So I'm sort of eager just to go and have a walk, or even just 5-10 minutes. One positive thing, I'd sort of say that like the team that I work with, so like we meet daily, like every morning that I'm working, and I think that just helps. I think if I didn't have that, I just feel really, really lost in a way. So at least I get to see everyone's faces like every day. So
yeah, that sounds really important to have during lockdown. But yeah, equally not going to the beach does sound really hard. Yeah. Roberta, are you okay to go next?
Yes. So I'm Roberta, I live in London, and one thing that I'm finding challenging is the lack of contact with my friends. So I usually meet them regularly. So yeah, the face-to-face meeting, because then I shifted that into Zoom or something, but it's not the same. Yeah, so one positive thing is that I'm doing a lot of crafting and a lot of things on my own, and like I'm I started yoga
Yeah.
more. Yeah.
That's a really good one. And we'll come on to those sorts of themes later on. So I'm really glad that everyone's kind of touched on like positive things and appreciating things. 'Cause that's like a big part of well-being. So when we go on, I have said if everyone kind of grabs like a paper, a pen, or like a note app or anything you can kind of scribble stuff down on, just because as we're going along, we'll be making goals, so it's kind of useful to be able to write them down. We're we're going to follow this sort of SMART way of setting goals. So I'm sure everyone's heard like thrown around a million times. I'm sure you're all familiar with it, but very briefly, it's kind of making specific goals in a kind of specific time frame that you can measure your achievement by them, making them relevant to what you're doing and having time based. And also I have a sort of addition to SMART, which is the smarter goals, which is about having a reward at the end. And I think that's really, really important when you have a goal, is to give yourself a reward. And it can be as little as, I'm going to make myself that chai latte that I really like, or I'm going to just, I don't know, I'm going to read a book that I really enjoy, I'm going to go for a walk, I'm going to buy some new clothes. It can be whatever goal. It doesn't have to be buying something. It can be something you have in the house. I think it's really important to give yourself a reward for all these goals you set. I was going to ask if anyone has an example of a goal they've used, kind of using the SMART technique or just sort of any technique. Again, all these questions you don't have to answer at all, but this is like a really safe place just to kind of talk about how we're doing and what goals we're setting.
So by the end of the lockdown, to get through all my drawers, tidy them up.
That is a great goal. I love it. So for SMART, that's specific because it's your drawers. It's measurable because they'll be tidy. It's achievable, attainable, fingers crossed. It's relevant to your house, and it's time-based because by the end of lockdown. And what's your reward for when you've done it?
The feeling of getting tidy, like, and to know where things are.
Yeah, that is a good reward. I love that. Yeah, I would also recommend having like a nice cup of tea at the end, or like a bar of chocolate or something, just to like really celebrate your achievement, because that is a really good one. So yeah, we just sort of bear in mind this smarter goal. So one really important thing about lockdown, and this is the next wellbeing step, is to do more of what you enjoy. And this could be starting a new hobby. It could be doing crafting like Roberta. It can be perfecting what you're already doing, getting better at it. Or it could just be something completely new that you've always wanted to try. So I'm going to ask that people set themselves a goal for trying something new. But to help you think about ideas, I've got a little game we can play, which I have made up myself, so do bear with me. And it's called I Was Stuck in Isolation and I. So similar to I went to the shops and I brought a banana. If we go round and we do I was stuck in isolation and I did an activity, and then the next person has to remember that activity and add another activity. And I just thought we could just sort of do 2 little rounds of testing people's memory and just throwing out ideas of what you can do in lockdown. Is anyone happy to start, or shall I kick off? Yeah, I can kick off. So I was stuck in isolation and I planted a load of plants that I think have died, but I planted plants. Lydia, do you want to attempt to go next with your...
Do I need to say your whole thing or just like part of it?
Yeah, so you can just say I was stuck in isolation, I planted some
plants
and I...
Okay, so I was stuck in isolation, I planted the plants that died.
Yeah, that's true.
But made herbal tea from them.
Oh, that's a good one. Jodie, you happy to try and remember and add on to that?
Okay, I can remember it, but I thought we were going around and like adding on what we'd done in relation.
Yeah,
so
we can do either. It's absolutely fine. But if you add on like what you've done or even what you haven't done, it's completely fine. Yeah.
Okay, so I was stuck in isolation and I planted some plants.
Yeah.
Died and made herbal tea from them.
Yeah.
And I personally baked a Victoria sponge cake.
That's a good one. I like that. Roberta, you up for the challenge?
Oh my God. So I was stuck in isolation and I planted some plants that died. I made the herbal tea. And then I baked like a Victoria sponge cake, and I danced street dance.
Oh, I like that. Guys, I reckon we should try for one more round, really, really pushing our memory. So I was stuck in isolation. I planted some plants. I made herbal tea. I made a Victoria sponge cake. I did street dancing. And I drank wine. That's my one.
Okay. I planted loads of plants. I made herbal tea. I baked a Victoria sponge cake. I did some street dance. I drank a bit of wine, and I practiced some basketball.
Oh, did you really? Did you really practice basketball? No. Well, guys, these are all good ideas. I mean, if anyone wants to take any of these, and maybe not the wine.
You're
but...
cheating. You are cheating, Lydia.
Yeah. Jodie, you up for the...
Right, I'm gonna try it. So I planted some plants that died. I made herbal tea out of them. I baked a Victoria sponge cake. I did some street dancing. I drank some wine. I tried a bit of basketball. Yeah. And I made an origami squid.
Wow.
Why not?
That is amazing. I love that. Have you actually made one?
Yeah, I did. Well, I did it as a practice.
Oh my gosh.
It went wrong, but it was like I saw a video and I thought, oh, I'll just try it.
I love that. That's doing more of what you enjoy. That's exactly what the target is. Cool, Rebecca, you're the last person, so you've got the hardest job.
Let's try. So I planted plants that died, made herbal tea, then I baked a cake, the Victoria sponge cake. Then I danced some street dance. I drank wine, played basketball. I made an origami squid, and I made some like a bee.
Oh, that is amazing. Wow.
Yeah.
That is great. Guys, these are some great ideas. So hopefully this kind of gets you thinking about what you can do in isolation. And there's so much out there which you can do. We've come up with great ideas. So if everyone just takes like 5 minutes or so, just set themselves a goal using the SMART model with the reward at the end. And again, it can be as big or as small as you like. It can be I want to go out every day, or it could be I want to run a marathon every day, or it could be I just want to get changed and not stay in pajamas till about 3 p.m. or whatever your goal is. That's completely fine. But this is just a little time to reflect. If I get a little thumbs up when people are ready, but again, there's just take as long as she needs. Go on. Cool. So I'll just gently start talking about the next one, but if you're still on the previous goal, then that's absolutely fine. You'll be very relieved to hear you only have to make 2 more goals after this. I just think goals are really important during lockdown when there's not much structure, and it just gives you that structure and something to achieve and feel good about yourself. Yeah. So the next step about well-being is staying connected. So it's really important, not only for yourself, but for the person you're connecting to, because you don't know the situation they could be in, and actually what you're doing not only benefits your well-being, actually can impact on other people, and that can kind of ripple out again. So I've got a couple of examples of ways to connect to people. I've got podcasts on there because sometimes I find if I don't want to actively go and talk to people, just listening to things and being connected to the world and other people through a podcast, it's a really easy way just to kind of get that, so it's not just in your head, so that you're kind of actually listening to other people in the world. So that was just one that I found really useful. And obviously there's so many people you can connect to, your friends, your relatives, your neighbors, your pets, anything. So if anyone has any thoughts about ideas, maybe something they've already done to connect to people, maybe something they want to try, and again, we will be setting a goal around this. That's kind of bear in mind that this is something to work on, because there's always ways to work on things. But I was just wondering if anyone has an example of where they've connected to people during lockdown. Yeah, go for it, JD.
Well, it wasn't really me, I've been a part of it, but my partner has started sending letters to his grandma, who she doesn't live that far away, but it was just a nice thing to sort of do. And at the start of it as well, I sent a little nice postcard of it had this really beautiful illustrated map of Cornwall on it, and I just sent that to one of my family members. It was, it's just a nice thing to sort of actually write something and send it off.
That is really lovely, and I love that it's a postcard, so it's sort of personal as well, and has that picture, and like you said, of Cornwall as well. Yeah, that's a really, really lovely idea. Yeah, are people okay to think about a goal, or do we want to have a bit more discussion, or people kind of feel able to set themselves a goal? And again, this goal could be thinking about the sort of measurable and that sort of aspect of the SMART goals. It could be, I want to message one friend who I haven't spoken to every couple of days, and that's a completely fine goal. And then once I've done that, I'm going to make myself I'm going to get in my pajamas, I'm going to watch my favorite film, and that will be my reward at the end of it. But yeah, again, so if we just sort of think about a goal about staying connected, reaching out, it can be the community, it can be anyone in your household, just a way to kind of connect with people. And also, I think it's worth saying that you can also connect all projects that we're all involved in from Our Bright Future are great ways to connect with people. People also might be having a hard time as well, which is the really important thing about connecting. So it doesn't just have to be kind of people, it could be your project, it could be coming to these webinars, it could be, there's lots of avenues, but you can think kind of as big as you like when it comes to connecting to people. Cool. Well, again, can I get a little thumbs up or a sort of maybe where people are? And yep, thumbs up, and almost thumbs up. That's good. So I've got a bit of an interactive thing to do now, because we've been doing a lot of talking and a lot of writing. So now we're going to do a bit of art. So Zoom has a feature where you can annotate, and on this little box at the side, it shows you how to do that. So if everyone kind of finds the annotate tool, and let me know if you have any trouble doing so, and I can help you out. So the annotate tool, it kind of comes up as a little toolbar at the top, and you've got erasers and different colors and circles. Roberta, you're right, you look slightly, all on the annotating. Perfect. So what I'm going to do is say one word, and I want you to draw whatever comes to your mind when I say that word. And then I'm going to say another word, and I want you to draw what you think when I say the next word. And I'm going to join in with the drawings too, because I find it quite fun as well. So the first word is exercise, guys. The dreaded exercise. So just whatever comes to your head when you think of exercise. I'm liking the little stick men. It's great. I think we've got some budding Zoom artists going on. Who drew the basketball? That's a really great one, Lydia. That's perfect. That's great. Cool. So we've got some pretty we've got a lot of sort of people. Yeah, which is obviously a great start for exercise. So some great drawings. And what I'm going to do now is ask you to draw the second word. So I'm going to clear this. If everyone's okay to say goodbye to your lovely drawings. We're now going to draw what comes to your mind with the word achievement. Oh, I like the little smiley face. That's a good one. Oh, the sun's really nice as well. That's a good one. Some good drawings going on. I've just discovered the stamper thing as well, which is quite fun. Oh, I just noticed the medal as well. That's a good one. Like bow, medal, star, little trophy. These are all really great. So what after our little drawing class that we've just had, feel free to carry on drawing if you want. The next bit really is thinking about getting moving, which is really important. If you have meetings, you're stuck in the same room every day, all day, every single day, it's very, very exhausting. And for your well-being, that's really a struggle as well. So really from these two words, I wanted people to think about what are the positives to being active and what gets in the way of being active. And I want people to remember how positive and the good feelings of achievement. And maybe when you think of the first drawings and you think of the second drawings, that actually, even though exercise is quite hard at first, actually the sense of achievement is really beneficial and it is really there. So I was wondering if we have a little conversation about what obstacles get in the way of being active, and if anyone had any tips that they have for getting active and trying new things as well, trying new activities.
Loren, I'm trying to mute myself, but when I click on mute, like then I've got the love, like the heart.
Are you still on the annotation thing? Is there any way you can quit the annotation?
Ah, okay, I should quit that. Okay.
Yeah, that should work. But I mean, I love the hearts, so if you want to keep doing the hearts, they're great as well. But yeah, so just thinking about the feedback and what we drew, how we can be active and what are the obstacles and how we get around it.
I would say that after like a long day at work and probably for quite a few at school, it's really hard to like get into that mindset because you're like, oh, I'm just tired and I just want to like be a couch potato and
Yeah.
watch rubbish on television that I don't really have to think about and I don't really have to follow, because it always ends up with the same storyline at the end of it. So you don't really have to listen.
Yeah.
But what a tip, I guess, is I always try and put some really active music on.
Really good
So
one.
I can't play it out loud because we have neighbours who probably don't want to hear my active music. I have these lovely headphones that I've got on now. And so I can turn it up however loud I want to without disturbing anyone else, and sort of get a little bit more like energetic and a bit fun again, basically. Yeah,
that's a great one. I think I might magpie that off you, because that sounds like a great idea. Yeah. One recommendation for me, my family have been playing a lot of ping pong, which is a great idea if you have no space but you have a table, and just find a family member who doesn't mind playing ping pong with you, and it's actually really fun. So that's my sort of tip about getting active and finding the fun in that as well. Yeah, any other thoughts about getting active, not getting active, if you can do it?
I wish I had a football or like something else, but I don't. But yeah, no, I've really struggled, sort of similar to Lydia, is like turning off at the end of the day. Like I'm still switched on like work mode. And actually, if I was a bit more stricter with myself and probably had a bit more of a like schedule or like it, that might motivate me more. But I'm always there like, no, I've got to do this. Yeah, but one thing that definitely helps is if it's sunny and nice, and then I just feel encouraged to like go outside. Yeah.
I think also that thing about being switched on and finding it hard to switch off, I think, like, I don't know about you guys, but I really relate to that. Like when you've been working all day in the same room and then suddenly it's the end of the day but you're still in the same room, and that can be really hard, and hopefully some of these tips about kind of doing what you enjoy is a break to switch off, something just what you enjoy, or contacting someone or doing exercise, hopefully those can be things that can kind of break that gap between just working. And yes, Lydia, is that
sorry to interrupt, but Lawrence is just going to enter
that's no problem.
He's in the waiting room, so I'm just going to enter him through, but you might have to explain the question again for him.
That's fine, we'll do a mini recap, guys. You can help me out with the with the recap.
I'm just admitting him now. It says joining. Might take a little while.
Yeah, so while we do this, again, it's just if people could just set themselves a goal. This is the last goal you'll be setting. So again, thinking about the SMART, but also thinking about that reward at the end.
Hi, Lawrence.
Hi. I think you're on mute. Yeah, perfect. Hi.
Sorry, I'm so late into this, by the way. My last thing overran quite a bit.
Don't worry. It's absolutely fine. So to briefly catch up to speed, we just been to a wellbeing session about these 5 wellbeing tips, but the most important one being setting goals. So we go through the slides and just setting goals for each slide. So we had doing more of what you enjoy, staying active, reaching out to other people. But there will be a little document I put through with like loads and loads of good links to loads of useful websites. So we'll just kind of have it all on there anyway. But we were just talking about getting moving, and we did some really great. We had some like Picasso artists going on there. We had great net basketball drawings. They're amazing. We just had a little art moment. And right now we're just talking about the obstacles of being active, getting in the way of being active, the benefits, how people are managing this. And then we're just asking people to set a little goal for themselves around being active, and to use the smarter model, being smart but having a reward at the end as well. But I can catch up to speed later, and the document has it all on there anyway as well. I'm going to move on to the next slide, which is the second to last slide, guys. We've nearly made it. So I think this is the most important one, and this is about being kind to yourself. And I think it's so easy to say, you know, oh, this person is, sorry, I'm just playing around my Zoom there. I think it's so hard when you compare yourself and you see what other people are doing and what you're maybe not doing, or maybe you have worked really hard but it hasn't turned out the way you wanted, or you had a lot of plans, or you had a goal to wake up early and you woke up really late. So I think the most important thing is just being kind to yourself and forgiving yourself and saying, do you know what, I've tried my best, I've tried really hard, and this is, you know, I've given all I can, and that's okay. That is okay. So I've got one question, which is, what are you proud of yourself for? So during lockdown, during the last couple of weeks, what sort of 1 or 2 things have you done where you've gone, actually, and it could be really, really tiny. It could be as tiny as making an origami squid. But you could say, actually, I'm proud of myself for making that, because it was quite tricky and I didn't have to, but I did. So yeah, I was wondering if anyone had anything they were proud of themselves for doing. I can like go around and ask people, but equally if people, when I ask them, if people want to pass up and not answer, that's okay as well. So I might ask Lydia, have you got anything you're proud of for yourself?
It's a little bit of a different one, I guess. So obviously, like, very new to the street, and a lot of people already know each other. And around COVID-19 lockdown time, like a lot of neighbours have sort of, I guess, spoken more than they would generally.
Yeah.
And there was a little social distance gathering happening outside.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, I should go and say hello. But I'm not very good in very big groups of people. Like, I don't feel very confident in a group of strangers. But
Yeah.
I'm proud that I actually went out and like said hello and introduced myself, because
Yeah.
normally I wouldn't. And I felt proud to be able to have done that and done it quite confidently. So yeah, that's what I'd say I was proud of.
That's a really good one. That's a really good one, because it is really hard to kind of go make those connections. Yeah, especially during COVID and everything. So that's a really good one.
Yeah.
Jodie, do you have anything? Again, you can pass up if you want to.
That's right. It's quite hard for me to think of just one, but you know, that squid was amazing.
Yeah.
Just a recent one, like after working all week, like I applied for a job on a Saturday. So just like having the motivation to even just do that.
Yeah.
So even just doing something that I knew I had to do, but yeah.
That's a great one. I'm really proud of you for doing that, because after working all week, that must have been like quite a lot to kind of.
Yeah, it felt like more work. It obviously is, but yeah, like you feel a sense after it's done. You're like, you do feel that sense of like, yeah, like happiness, I suppose, that you've actually just done it. So
that's a great one. I'm proud of you for doing that. That's really good. Roberta, have you got anything to say that you're proud about yourself for?
Yes, so there is one work, one personal. So one at work is like that, despite the COVID-19, I'm working with some organizations in Wales, Northern Ireland, and Scotland, because our refuge is such a big program, and now I've got some teams working there. So we started without meeting face to face, just over the computer or online. And that's difficult, but yeah, I'm proud that we manage and the things are going very well. And I can see that the projects are really today we met with the projects in Wales, and they are all fired up. They are all ready to work on with the young people, to involve them more and to get them voices heard by the policymakers in Wales. So that was really a moment of
Absolutely, that sounds like a really big one, but yeah, it sounds like you've done a lot of hard work as well.
Yeah, and more to come, but it's when there is passion and that you feel that the things you're doing the right things, then you feel it.
Yeah.
And my small personal one is that I created like a skip garden in my bedroom, which like I'm in my bedroom at the moment. So it's like I've got some plants in a box.
Yeah, that's really lovely. I've also accumulated kind of a lot of plants during lockdown, ones that are still alive. But yeah, that's a really lovely thing. I'm glad you found something for yourself as well. That you're proud of, not just for like work as well. Lawrence, I know you've just joined us. Are you okay to say something you're proud of? You can pass if you want to.
Yeah, of course. Probably actually the webinar I ran last week and the sessions that I've run for the humanist group on Zoom, for my local humanist group, which I'm quite pleased about. Quite pleased about, because I sometimes struggle a little bit with self-motivation. Those. So.
Oh, hello.
Sorry, I just yeah.
Are you okay?
Can you hear me?
I can hear you. Yeah.
All right, fine. Sorry, I must have clicked mute by accident. Yeah, so that will be my choice.
Yeah, no, that's a really good one. That's a really good one. I'm just going to go back to the previous slide because there was just one more activity I thought we could go through, which is obviously we've set now about 3 or 4 goals. And I think setting goals are great. It gives you a great sort of structure to your day, gives you a great reward, and hopefully it add to the things you're proud of. But also there's that other side when you don't meet a goal. And I wanted to have a little discussion around what can you do if you don't meet a goal. I had a couple ideas I thought of, but I'm really interested to hear about what you guys, those sort of strategies, things you can say to yourself when you actually don't meet one of these goals that we've set today. So one I had was to focus on what you have achieved and not what you haven't. So instead of saying, well, I didn't run that 10K, go, well, actually, I did run 2K. And actually, that's not too bad. And actually, I'm proud of myself for running 2K. So maybe I didn't do it all, but I did do something. So I'm just going to write it on the whiteboard here. My spelling's awful, so I very much apologize. Does anyone else have any thoughts about what you can do if you don't meet a goal?
What you focus on, what you have achieved, more or less, is resonates with me, because that was more or less my approach to my entire degree.
Yeah.
In that I very rarely met the targets I'd set for reading these papers today, or writing that much today of whatever essay it was. But I generally get a lot more done than I did if I'd set the target.
Yeah.
Or would have done if I hadn't set the target.
Yeah, that's a great one. That's such a good way to think about things. And I think for life, not just for COVID, that's a really good sort of positive mentality to have, is to say, actually, I have done stuff, but and celebrate that. And to go along with that as well is about forgiving yourself. So not beating yourself up and saying, I didn't do it, but say, do you know what? Actually, I didn't make 24 cakes today, 24 Victoria Sponge cakes. Sorry, Jodie. But I did make one, and actually then I ran out of flour, and then I got a bit tired. But I forgive myself because I tried my best, and I did, it's fine. I forgive myself. I did what I could. That's okay. So I think that's another one as well, about forgiving yourself and being kind to yourself. So I guess all these themes kind of interlink with being kind to yourself, and that having that kind of mentality of saying, what I'm doing is enough, and that is okay for now. Some of the other ones I had again was just to try again. Again, my spelling is awful. I will try again at spelling try again. Yeah, that's a good one. Yeah, Roberta, do you have any thoughts?
Yeah, so I think that I would reflect on what I did and what I can do differently, but in a like kind of a relaxed way. Someone told me once a fail is a first attempt in learning.
Yeah,
So with
that's
that kind of
yeah,
attitude, a failure is never a failure. It's
yeah.
just the first attempt. You can try again.
Sorry, my spelling is really awful. I do apologize.
Don't worry.
Yeah, I really, really like that. I'm gonna hold on to that actually. I'm gonna take that away from this because that's a really good one. The failure is just an attempt. Um, yeah, yeah, Lydia.
I think I always fall into the category of trying to achieve too much in a short amount of time. So I might write down a goal thinking like, oh yeah, I'll totally achieve this, and then be really annoyed at myself when I don't achieve it in the time I've allotted. So I think with the whole reflecting thing, I think I need to reflect on like what I'm setting myself and not to be too harsh on myself.
So yeah, that's a great one. Not to be too harsh, and yeah, maybe something to do that could be like setting more realistic goals or smaller goals, and then they can build up. But maybe starting small and then stuff that you can achieve instead of going for like the absolute biggest goal, which I do all the time. I set myself kind of massive goals and then never get there. And but it is all about what you have done and appreciating what you have done. So anyone else have any last thoughts on this before we sort of wrap up the session a little bit? Yeah, Jodie.
I was just gonna say I completely like have that, Lydia, as well. Like
Yeah.
so at work I have sort of spreadsheet that I'm using at the minute, and it's just to put in like tasks and stuff so I don't forget. And
Yeah.
it's the like, yeah, I always write down that I'm gonna do all this on one day, and actually you just don't get around to it. You know,
Yeah.
you have things that pop up, all like, you know, you have an hour call here and you so yeah, I definitely just try and reflect, try and see if I can juggle things around, do it at another time. But I like what you said about like breaking down goals as well. I've done that in the past where it's like a massive goal.
Yeah.
And look at it and go, actually, what do I need to do to complete that goal overall? So like breaking it down, I find that really helps.
Yeah, definitely. That's a really good tip. What I'm going to do is clear the screen and just move on. This is our very last screen, guys. So we've all done a great job at getting this far. And for this last one, we're just reflecting on this session, on how everyone's doing. And if people feel able, maybe saying one goal out of the sort of 3 that you wrote down that you feel able to share. Or if not, just one thing you'll take away from this session, or just anything you would like to share before we kind of wrap up. It could be whatever feels comfortable for you.
I don't mind going first.
Yeah, go for it.
I think I love that quote of a failure is just a first attempt. I feel like that is just one thing that's going to stick in my mind like after today. So I definitely loved that. One of the like smart targets I wrote down was that I was going to try and set up like a so on my project we have like beach rangers. And there's like a group of us. It's similar to like D&B, like and maybe set up like a short Zoom call with them just to check in and see if everyone's okay, and just have all the beach rangers in the academy just meet up and see how everyone is.
That's a really, really lovely one, and that like connects with so many of the different steps that we talked about. I would just say bear in mind about not taking on too much, and about, you know, just have that in the back of your mind as well. But I think that's a really, really, really good goal. And I think that can impact a lot of other people as well. So I think, yeah, that's a really, really good one. Does anyone else feel able to share or comment or anything you feel like is where we wrap up? Yeah, Roberta.
So I really enjoyed all the session. It was really well done and really like interactive with a lot of things to do and to think about it. And one thing that I will take is in the aspect of stay connected. I will try my best to connect even more the projects.
Yeah.
That are part of our bright future to support each other more.
Yeah.
And I was while you were speaking, I was thinking that in that moment of like ways to connect them more by using the social media more, focusing on the comms, and supporting them to be more linked and to spread these messages, to engage more the young people, even more in this moment. It's quite difficult, no?
Definitely, that's a really, really lovely one. And that's a sort of goal that will kind of spiral out as well. So it won't just be, it can get bigger and you can hopefully connect more people. And that's a really lovely one. Yeah.
So mine's really selfish because it's all about me.
It's okay.
Everyone's done some really nice community
so.
ones. So I put so just to let you know, so I moved from a flat to a semi-detached house, so I never had a garden before now.
Oh wow.
It was really exciting. So I put, I want to transform the garden to a wildlife garden by next year. First, I'd like to complete the planters, which I bought this morning. And next, buy a small container pond. And then my reward will be to relax in the garden and watch the wildlife.
That's lovely.
So I'm excited. One. Yeah, it is exciting, especially during this time. Like, obviously I can't get everything, and different companies say they're delivering or some aren't delivering, and it's all a bit all over the place. Who knows if it'll ever be delivered, type thing. But it's something to sort of look forward to in this time of negativity in a way.
Yeah, that's a really, really nice one. I really like that. And that's also connecting to do more of what you enjoy as well. That's a great one. Lawrence, I know you joined us very late, but do you have any sort of comments or goals or thoughts?
Still muted. Well, my first thing is to say I'm sorry that I did join so late, because you clearly put a lot of work into this, Loren. And my second thing is to say just to keep getting out, really. I was quite pleased this morning because I walked this morning. I saw my first damselfly of the season. So
oh wow!
Yeah. So one of my goals is to one of my goals for this summer, under normal circumstances, would have been to carry on practicing my ID skills. But there's no reason why I can't do that down by the river. So relating to sort of practicing my damselfly ID with whatever happens to be around is probably my top goal for the moment.
Yeah, that's a really good one.
Yeah.
I thought I'd share my goal with the group because I've asked quite a lot for you guys, so I thought I'd sort of give back a bit as well. So my goal, I've got a social enterprise that I'm starting up. So I've got a goal today of printing envelopes, and that's measured because I want to do it today. I've got the equipment, so it's realistic. And my goal for when I'm done, I think I'm just going to take an evening off, watch a bit of TV, maybe you being framed, and just have a bit of a relax. That's my goal. Yeah, so I'll stop sharing screen now. Perfect. Thanks, guys.
Thank you so much for that, Loren. That was so interesting, and I think I will take so much away from that.